Let's get to it. You guys go way back. This Scout micropigmentation origin. Where did it start? From your perspective, kind of, where did it start? How did you get into it?
The origin story.
I know that I had my treatment done in early 2011. SMP.
Were they calling it SMP at that time?
I believe so.
I think it was MHT, maybe.
Micro hair pigmentation.
Micro hair tattooing.
The Brits always do some weird shit with their
Hello, you sound like you're from London. Shout out Paul Clark.
Hey.
Paul Clark, man.
Yeah. Yeah, and so actually I traveled over there to the UK because it wasn't available here. When I went over there in early 2011, they had a house, like a shop. You've been to that house in Birmingham.
Yeah.
I walked in, I saw a guy that had it done. It was the first time I ever saw anything like it. Honestly, I didn't think it looked that great.
Back in the days, it was like, no.
But I was so jet lagged, I was like, fuck it, all right, let me sleep it off. And then next day, got the treatment done. Got to meet Paul while my stay was there, Paul Clark. So he was there for a few months at the time. And Zhang, who was there, who helped do my treatment. So, like, that was early on. I don't know when you had yours done, but it's probably similar timing, I would think. Right?
Mine was in April 2010 was my first treatment.
Were you in London as well?
I was in, this happened in Inglewood, Florida was the first time I did my first session SMP. The method that they used was actually like a tattoo method. It kind of just looked like a shadow effect. So like in the beginning, it wasn't what me and Matt are doing now. The method, it was more of a shadow. So like SMP in the beginning, it went from the shaved head look. Over the years, we just advanced it to like the single hair buzz look, or you can have the shaved look. So in the beginning, I did have laser. The first artist to do my head was just a regular tattoo artist. He was kind of watching what the guys in London were doing at the time. So I was behind the scenes watching how they run their business, and like you could tell like they were kind of just flowing with it. So they really didn't like have it down on lock or nothing. It still took some years before it actually perfected, I guess. So
yeah. I mean, it started. How I always explain it, and I think it's pretty accurate, is that it really did start, at least the birth of like the technique where you see it done now, the pointillism technique, 3RL, using pigment dilution. That really did start in the UK, but was advanced by a lot of the early artists that were brought on by his hair clinic and maybe a couple other UK-based companies. But pretty quickly, I know how I got involved was that I had my treatments done. I spent time over there for a couple of weeks, got to know some of the individuals, got to know the owner, the CEO. And at that time, they were actually looking to hop across the pond. And me being from New York, we kind of had that discussion of, hey, would you like to learn how to do this and introduce it to New York City and America? And I was a 22-year-old shithead and was like, fuck yeah, why not?
And during that time, I was in Florida working with this tattoo artist, and I always said, you know what, there's something bigger here. I wanted to, because I was in Florida, my daughter's in New York, so I'm like, I gotta get out to New York. So long story short, I hit up Ian. I said, hey, I'm doing this.
Who is Ian?
Ian Watson, the owner of his hair clinic. So Ian and Rambier.
Yeah, they deserve a lot of credit.
Shout out Ian Rambier. Yeah.
Shout out to Ian Rambier.
Yeah, I still have a lot of respect too. Me and Matt, no hard feelings with them. There's a lot of other artists. A lot of people just, they created something that just kind of blew up, it's magical, and people, they seen that and they said, you know what, they tried to do it on their own, but they kind of like, I believe, we helped form SMP, modern day SMP actually. So
you definitely brought it to the U.S.